Have you ever noticed that the moment you stop caring is when they suddenly start to care? It's like a switch flips and everything changes. You've probably experienced this before. You've been giving, nurturing, and constantly available only to find that the more you give, the less he seems to appreciate it. But the moment you stop showing that same level of attention, something shifts in him. Suddenly he's paying more attention, reaching out more, and even wondering what happened. So what's going on here? Why do men start to care when you stop caring? Well, there are three powerful reasons for this, and understanding them will change the way you approach your relationships. Men are often drawn to challenges, and this trait can be one of the most powerful forces in determining how they engage in relationships. When a man doesn't have to work for something, he tends to take it for granted. If you are always available, always giving, and always there, it can feel to him like he doesn't need to put forth the effort to earn your attention or affection. Relationships, much like anything else in life, thrive on a sense of pursuit and excitement, and men often gravitate toward that. When everything is handed to them easily, the value of what they have becomes diminished. This is why when you stop caring in the same way you once did, something shifts in the dynamic and a man starts to care in ways he didn't before. When you pull back and stop giving so freely, it creates a sense of scarcity. He starts to feel like he might lose you, and suddenly your value increases in his eye. He realizes that you're no longer just an available option, but someone who commands respect and attention. He starts to wonder what changed, why you're no longer as accessible as you once were. In a way, this shift puts you in the position of power without you even needing to try. Instead of constantly reaching out, trying to keep him interested or showing him how much you care, you're now focused on your own life, your own goals, and your own growth. And that subtle change is powerful. When a man sees that you're no longer desperate for his attention, he is forced to step up. Suddenly, he can't assume that you'll always be there. That challenge ignites something within him. It's a natural response. Humans, men included, often value what they have to earn. In relationships, the challenge of proving himself and winning your affection can bring out the best in him. He starts making an effort, reaching out more, planning dates, showing up in ways he hadn't before. That spark, that pursuit, is the very thing that keeps the connection alive. When you're always available and constantly giving, you become predictable. There's no mystery or excitement left for him. You may think that by being there for him, by being constant, you're showing him how much you care. But what you may not realize is that you're actually making it too easy for him. It's almost as if you're saying, here I am, take me or leave me, without giving him any reason to chase or appreciate the effort. But when you stop showing up in that same way, you change the rules. Suddenly he has to wonder if he's losing you. And with that fear of losing you comes a shift in his attitude. He starts to work harder to prove that he values you. The longer you maintain your distance, the more he feels the pressure to show you that he wants you in his life. This dynamic is not about playing games or pretending to not care. It's about recognizing your own worth and knowing that you don't have to chase after someone to feel validated or loved. When you stop making him your priority and start making yourself one, it sends a message that you are not just here to be his option, but that you have your own life and goals to pursue. And when he sees you doing that, it forces him to rethink his position. You're not just sitting around waiting for him to give you attention. You're out there living your life, growing, and being the best version of yourself. That alone makes you irresistible. This shift also creates a natural balance in the relationship. It allows both of you to bring something to the table. The effort and energy are no longer one-sided. As you start to focus on yourself, you stop being so consumed as every move and start working on your own passions and ambitions. In turn, he sees this growth and is inspired by it. He becomes more intrigued by you and wants to be a part of the life you're creating. When a man has to work to get your attention, it triggers a healthy sense of competition and desire. The chase becomes a part of the relationship that keeps things exciting and fresh. So when you stop caring in the way you once did, you create an opportunity for him to care in ways that matter. By pulling back, you give him space to realize that you are not just waiting around for him. You make him work for your time and attention, and in doing so, you allow him to value what you offer. The challenge creates a shift, the dynamic changes, and suddenly he's the one showing up, making the effort, and proving that he's worthy of your love. The moment you stop chasing, you start giving him the space he needs to pursue you. And when he does, it's more meaningful than it ever was before. When men value what they can't easily have, it sparks a natural desire to pursue it. The concept of scarcity plays a critical role in human psychology, especially when it comes to relationships. Think about it, when something is readily available and easy to access, it tends to lose its value over time. But when something is more difficult to attain, when it requires effort, patience, and persistence, suddenly it becomes more desirable. This principle applies to relationships as much as it does to anything else in life. When you stop making yourself so easily accessible and start living your own life with purpose, you create a sense of rarity. And that rarity is precisely what makes you so much more valuable in his eyes. For example, when you are always available, always reachable, always eager to please, it can create a sense of comfort in the man's mind. He knows that no matter what, you'll be there waiting for him. While this might feel reassuring to him in the short term, it often leads to complacency. The effort that would typically be required to maintain attraction in a relationship isn't necessary when everything is so readily given. Over time, the dynamic shifts and he no longer feels the need to put in the work. This is where the imbalance starts. You're giving and he's receiving, but there's no reciprocation. Eventually, this can cause resentment or worse, a disconnect where you feel undervalued and he doesn't notice until it's too late. When you begin to pull back and focus on your own life, your goals, your passions, your personal growth, you create a space of uncertainty. You're no longer as readily available and your time becomes something he has to earn. That simple shift is powerful. Men don't always realize what they have until it's no longer so easily accessible. The moment you stop being just a call away, he starts to realize that you're not going to be there indefinitely unless he makes an effort. That shift in your behavior triggers a sense of scarcity, and scarcity breeds desire. Now, he's the one wondering what happened, why things changed, and more importantly, how he can get back to the place where you were once so easily accessible. This is not about playing games or manipulating him into caring. It's about recognizing your own worth and understanding that you do not have to make yourself constantly available in order to earn his affection or attention. When you stop making him the center of your universe and start living for yourself, your value naturally increases. He now sees you as someone who has a life, who is independent and self-sufficient. He begins to understand that you are not just there to serve his needs, and that if he wants to be a part of your life, he has to prove his worth. The scarcity of your time, attention, and affection forces him to act. It forces him to pay attention in ways he might not have done before. This dynamic shift makes you much more desirable because quite simply he knows that he could lose you if he doesn't step up. Men value what they have to work for, not because it's a conscious choice they make, but because of their wiring. The act of pursuit triggers something deep within them. When things come too easily, it dulls the excitement and the natural energy that could have been present in the relationship starts to fade. But when you create that sense of distance, when you give him space to realize that you are not just at his beck and call, he is faced with a choice. Either he steps up and works for your time and affection, or he risks losing it altogether. The moment you stop being so easy to get, his sense of challenge kicks in. And when men are faced with a challenge, it reignites and investment they might not have felt before. The key here is to not see this as a manipulative tactic, but as an essential part of maintaining healthy self-respect and ensuring that your needs are met in the relationship. By valuing your own time and focusing on your own growth, you not only make yourself more valuable, but also encourage him to value you in the same way. The more you focus on your own life and make it clear that you have your own ambitions, dreams, and goals, the more he will begin to see you as an equal partner in the relationship, someone who isn't just there to fill a void or constantly give. You'll be seen as someone who deserves effort, care, and consideration. And when he recognizes that, the dynamic between you will change, but it will change for the better. The more you pull back and focus on yourself, the more he will see that your presence is something he has to earn. This newfound effort from him will not only make him appreciate you more, but also deepen the connection between you both, leading to a more fulfilling, balanced relationship. Setting boundaries and respecting yourself are essential components of a healthy relationship. And when a man sees you doing this, it forces him to step up in ways he may have never had to before. When you have clear boundaries, you are not just protecting your own emotional well-being, but also demonstrating that you know your worth. Men, just like anyone else, are drawn to someone who values themselves. They're naturally inclined to respect someone who commands respect. By setting boundaries, you send a clear message that you are not available to be mistreated, taken for granted, or disrespected. This creates a level of admiration that is necessary for a healthy, thriving relationship. When you stop giving everything of yourself without a second thought, you create space for him to realize that he must earn your attention and affection. This doesn't mean you become distant or emotionally unavailable, but it does mean you stop overextending yourself for his sake. You prioritize your own life goals and well-being, which is the foundation of setting boundaries. And when you do this, something interesting happens. You shift the balance of the relationship. No longer is the relationship one-sided where you give and give while he takes. Instead, he has to start putting in effort because he now realizes that you won't just be there for him whenever he chooses. By respecting yourself, you show him that you deserve to be treated with care, consideration, and thoughtfulness. And when you respect yourself, you begin to demand the same level of respect from him. This is a very powerful shift, as men are naturally drawn to women who have their own standards and who are not afraid to stand by them. When you show that you are willing to walk away or limit your interaction, when your boundaries are crossed, he learns quickly that he cannot just take you for granted. The notion that you are not available to be mistreated creates a sense of urgency for him to prove that he values you. This urgency is exactly what will make him take notice and start to put in the effort. Boundaries are not just about saying no to things you don't want or agreeing to things you're uncomfortable with. They're about knowing what you deserve, what your needs are, and sticking to those principles no matter the situation. When a man sees that you have strong boundaries, it forces him to reevaluate the way he interacts with you. If he has taken you for granted in the past or assumed you would always be there without question, the shift in your behavior will make him realize that he cannot afford to take you for granted anymore. He has to step up his game to earn your respect and attention. Setting boundaries ensures that you are not sacrificing yourself for the sake of someone else's comfort. A healthy relationship is about mutual respect and understanding. And when you respect your own needs and desires, you allow space for the relationship to grow in a healthy direction. If a man truly values you, he will understand and appreciate the boundaries you set. He will recognize that these boundaries are not about playing games or trying to manipulate him, but about honoring yourself and ensuring that you're treated in a way that aligns with your standards. When you stop sacrificing your happiness, your comfort, and your values to please someone else, it forces him to realize that he has to put in the work to keep you in his life. Men are naturally drawn to women who stand up for themselves and demonstrate that they will not settle for less than they deserve. A woman who has clear boundaries becomes an attractive, irresistible force because she isn't easily swayed or manipulated. Her value becomes undeniable. She demands respect not through words, but through actions. And when a man sees that you respect yourself, he will have no choice but to show you the same level of respect. This shift doesn't happen overnight. Setting boundaries requires consistency, confidence, and a willingness to prioritize your own emotional health. But the moment you start making these boundaries clear and sticking to them, you'll notice a significant change in how he treats you. Men will begin to show up differently. They'll realize that if they want to continue to be in your life, they need to respect you, your time, and your space. When a man sees that you are not willing to settle for less than what you deserve, he will start doing the work to show you that he values your presence, and that alone can completely change the dynamics of your relationship. So why do men start to care when you stop caring? It's simple. You create a challenge for him, you stop being an easy option, and you set boundaries that demand respect. By doing these things, you stop chasing him and start chasing your own happiness and growth. And when you start doing that, he starts to realize that you're not someone he can take for granted. You're a prize, and prizes don't come cheap. When you stop caring in the way you once did, it's the moment you start to take control of your life and in turn, make him realize that if he wants you, he has to earn you.